Ladies and gentlemen, this interview is brought to you by Burn It Up Coaching and the 21-Day Transformation. And if you are ready to take your life to the next level, kick butt, take names, and achieve your goals in 21 days, and you're sick and tired of making excuses, you're sick and tired of feeling lost, having no clarity, you want a roadmap for your goals, your long-term goals, as well as the short-term goals, and you want someone who's going to be there every single day to make sure that you're on track, taking action, kicking butt, taking names, I am here for you, and I'm looking for 2 people for this 21-day transformation. If that's you, if you're interested, send me a message. I'll send you over an application. You can fill that out, and if you're a fit, we can jump on a call and make sure everything's all lined up. And if not, then I'll send you in the direction of some resources that might be able to help you out. So this is only for the people who are committed, who are ready for the intensity, ready to take their life to the next level. And if that's you, send me a message. Now, let's talk about the iTunes review of the week, which is left by, I believe it's 17th Try. Yep, 17th Try. I loved this insight. I've heard people say before things like, don't wait until you're ready. You'll never be ready. I loved your twist on that. If you'll never be ready, you'll also never be not ready. Your energy is powerful. I look forward to hearing more episodes of your show, so thank you so much, 17th Try. And if you want to leave us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes, and you can find us on iTunes, or you can just go to iTunes again, Be Your GPS, Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Just search that, and you can find us there. You could also search us on Facebook and leave us a review there as well. Now, for the man of the hour, Siloh Moses is Las Vegas Top 100 Men of the Year, Esquire Magazine Top 40 Under 40, philanthropist and business consultant for millennial-owned companies that want to make a strong social impact. And I've met this guy. He's amazing. I've seen him speak. He has a heart of gold, and I'm so blessed and so grateful to have him on here. Siloh, you ready to rock this?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Let's do it. We're doing it. We're doing it. Awesome. Welcome to the Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self 12-hour marathon, man. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It's awesome.
So we're going to be diving in and, really discovering what it takes to be a change maker in this interview. Before we get there, though, let's dive into the theme of the day, which today is, what is it? It's freedom to choose. Freedom to choose. So, Siloh, how has this concept of freedom to choose affected and impacted your life, and how it shaped your journey?
Man, that's a really great question. And usually they warm you up to those kind of questions first.
We go deep, baby, deep right away.
And then, you're just like, no, we're going straight for it. No warming up here. Great question. So it's literally freedom of choice, right?
Yep.
So it's, how it's affected me is the fact that I truly believe that with every opportunity is a choice. There's a choice that needs to be made, right? And that choice that you make is literally going to decide everything. So there's always 2 choices when you're met with some kind of circumstance or something, or some kind of hurdle that you need to get over, right? And whether you know it or not, those 2 choices are flight or fight, right? It's very, very basic. It's a basic human, conditioning, right? Ever since we left the caves, right? When we were just like walking around with clubs, right? So it was, oh my gosh, here comes a saber-toothed tiger. What do I do? Do I beat him with my club, right? Or do I run for safety, right? And it's no different today, except we're no longer facing saber-toothed tigers. Now we face criticism. Now we face fear. Now we face, maybe failure, right? And that same instinct is still there. That same instinct is still there. Do I beat it over the head with my club, or do I run for safety? So whenever we come across failure, fear, criticism, you have a choice, and your freedom is only found after you make the choice, right? So your freedom is found after you make the choice. And is there a right or wrong choice? No, it's all, based on that person and whatever circumstance they're in, right? You either turn around and go back the other way for safety, or you beat it over the head with your club, right? That's the choice that you have. And once you make your choice, depending on if you make the choice that's right for you, will bring you freedom. If you make the choice that's wrong for you, well, freedom is just another step away, further step away, right?
Wow.
So it's all subjective, right? So But yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. And for me, literally every time I come across a challenge or something that is in my way, a hurdle, saber-tooth tiger, whatever, right? Whatever comes my way, I know exactly in that moment, I have a choice to make, right? Do I go left or do I go right? Do I run for freedom? Do I beat it over the head with the club? For the most part, 9 out of 10 times, I beat it over the head with the club. I'm not perfect. So I'm not going to pretend, right? There's going to be always that one time where I'm like, no, I don't want to do this right now. See ya, right? But for the most part, I like to outweigh the times when I run for safety with beating it over the head with a club.
Yeah. So. And in reality, what does that look like for you? You know, the beating it over the head of the club is like confrontation, confronting the fear and resolving it, getting through the fear. Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, you know, what happens is like the less, like when somebody comes up to you, it comes like standing in front of you, some kind of hurdle, again, that you need to get over or get through, right? If you run for safety, and that's okay, and you'll be safe for a little while, but that's always going to be in front of you, whatever that hurdle is. And the longer you stay in safety, the bigger that hurdle gets. In the back of your mind, the bigger that hurdle gets. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. What I found is that when that hurdle is in front of you, and if you immediately go towards that hurdle and you jump over it, not only is it behind you now, but it's also a lot smaller than what it would be if you ran for safety and waited 10, 22, 16 years to actually go back and address that hurdle again.
Damn. So it's like the hurdle, the challenge could be, you know, the next big step in a business. It could be, you know, asking out a guy or a girl on a date. It could be, you know, whatever it is. I know for me, like one of my things is having a conversation with my parents that I've been like avoiding, right? I've been avoiding a certain conversation where I get to be free from that past, from who I knew myself as this little kid. And I'm like, I put it in my schedule this Saturday, you know, I'm having this conversation, this important conversation to me. And it's like these actions that we want to resist, that we want to hide from, that we want to run from, or are difficult, you know, they come up on a daily basis, but oftentimes when it's a choice that we didn't make or made the choice to run, it will circle back around to us.
Right.
Bigger.
Exactly. Yeah. Much bigger. Exactly. Right. What started off as a saber-tooth tiger comes back as like King Kong. You're like, where did you come from? Right. So it's better to take on that saber-tooth tiger while the saber-tooth tiger is still small and it's not King Kong in our minds, right? We're talking about inner minds, right? So the more we actually run away from something, the bigger we give it more of an opportunity to become bigger every step away we take from it. Every step in the opposite direction. We run, we give that challenge. Yeah, you feed it and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Just like you said with the example of like, say you're at a bar and you want to talk to a girl and you know, you're attracted to her, you think she's really cute, whatever the case may be, right? The longer you stay in your spot and don't go up to her, the more the conversation in your mind starts to take over. What if I go up to her and say hi and she says no? What if she doesn't like me? What if she rejects me, right? And as you're going through all these what ifs, you're still in the same spot doing nothing. Right? And the girl is still on the other side of the bar, probably saying to herself, how come it's taking this guy so long to come over and say hello? Right? But you'll never know because you're so busy going through the what ifs. But if you walked right up to her, it was like, oh, she's really cute. And we go up to her and buy her a drink. What's the worst that can happen? That's when you find out she was thinking the same thing.
Right. And the longer you're sitting there, like analyzing the better, it's like there's like rationalization going on too. Like, oh well, this. Oh, I'll find someone better. Oh, she's not that. Blah blah blah. You know.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Well, dude, I love this discussion. We're diving in deep. We go deep right off the bat.
Yeah.
We want to know, Siloh, tell us a little bit more about what you're working on today. And you know, I mentioned these accolades that you're kicking butt in Vegas. Tell us a little bit more about who you are and what's going on, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. The accolades are always great. It's just for me, I see the accolades as, you know, it's the rest of the world finally catching up to what I've been doing, right? So it's they really don't define me, but it shows me that the rest of the world is finally catching up, right? And they're catching up in a big way. So But I never start off with the accolades simply because I'm always looking forward. I never look backwards. But if they're brought up, fantastic, So thank you for bringing them up because I never would have said any of that in this interview. So thank you. So moving forward, So for those who are watching right now who might not know me or might not know anything that we do in the community as an organization, I started an organization that serves our valley's less fortunate to us as anyone who is unemployed, underemployed, and or homeless. And we serve them with fresh food, clothing, hygiene, haircuts, you name it. And we've been doing this every week, nonstop, never taking a vacation, never taking a day off, never taken off for the holiday for about this month, 4 years now, going on this month.
Wow.
Yeah, we're in July, right? So yeah, July 29th was my first pot of spaghetti. That's when I served it.
Wow. Congrats, man.
Years.
Congrats.
Yeah. So, awesome. So for those that are watching again, who've never heard of what we do, how I started my organization is I went out and went into the homeless corridor with a single pot of spaghetti. And with that single pot of spaghetti, I served 30 people. And I went back the following Monday. This time I brought back 2 pots of spaghetti, and with the 2 pots of spaghetti, I served 60 people. And then I just went home and I told somebody what I did. And the following Monday, they came back and we both served. And then they went home and told somebody what we did. Following Monday, they brought somebody back with them and we all served.
Wow.
So here we are going on 4 years later. From that single pot of spaghetti that served 30 people, now is an organization that have over 100 volunteers. We've had over 5,000 local Las Vegas people come down and serve with us, and we've served over 97,000 meals in the Valley for free. So all from a single pot of spaghetti.
Wow.
And it's all just being mission driven. It's having the vision. It's standing on what you believe, right? And it's just knowing where you want to go and what you want to do. And it's also, whenever those challenges come up, being it over the head with the club to get to the next step. Right?
It sounds so primitive, but it's true.
But it is, just because we serve those who are less fortunate in the Valley and we serve them free doesn't mean we haven't had our missteps. Doesn't mean we haven't had people who, want to kind of deter us off our path. You might, anyone watching this right now be like, that's crazy. He's serving the homeless. And there's people out there when they see something good, they want to, kind of do something bad to it. So, but we've had our challenges, locally, we've had our challenges, with our serving locations but we've always muscled through them. We've always powered through them. And what I found is through powering through them, that always led me to a much bigger step afterwards. Like there's always something bigger on the other side of that. Wow. And to give you an example, we were serving for a year and a half before anyone even knew who we were or cared. And this was a year and a half of consistently going out every week, serving, taking photos, putting them on Facebook, telling stories, our volunteer stories, those who were serving, great content, right? I mean, for a year and a half consistently, every single week, we were putting out great content just to raise awareness about what we were doing and to get people involved with what we were doing. The tipping point was a year and 6 months. As soon as we crossed over a year and 6 months, then we had like Starbucks calling, Einstein Bagels calling, Trader Joe's was calling, and they were calling us. We weren't calling them.
Wow.
So the very first hurdle that we hit was, 6 months in, 9 months in, we're like, what are we doing? No one's paying attention. Or we're not garnering new volunteers, right? I mean, we're out here serving and we're doing what we love. But the point is to get it out there so that other people start doing it in their cities and states, right? And it just wasn't working. And at any time we could have failed. We could have just said, you know what, we're not doing this anymore. It's not worth it. Wow. And from that very first pot of spaghetti to a year and 6 months later, at any time we could have quit, and we didn't.
Yeah, there was reasons why to quit. It's not working as fast as we wanted. Right.
Wow.
Dude, that's incredible, man. Well, congratulations on all the success. What would you say was the thing that had you guys persist through it? What kept you going?
It was believing something bigger than ourselves. I think once you make it about you, it's easy to quit. Once you're met with some kind of fear, some kind of hurdle, it's easy to quit when it's all about you. And that might sound a little harsh, but follow me for a second. When you remove yourself from whatever the mission is that you're looking to accomplish in the world, create a new business, create a new product, go talk to that girl in the bar. When you remove yourself from the situation and make it bigger than you, now you have a calling. And that calling pulls you versus you pushing yourself in a direction that you don't know if you want to go in, right? So when you have something bigger than you, it pulls you. It's not a push. And when you're being pulled in a certain direction, you just go with it. You flow with it.
Go with it and flow with it. I love it. I love it. Well, Siloh, things weren't always so go and flow in your life. I think it got some pretty tough times. So let's go back on the journey to what had you create this organization. What were those kind of rock bottom moments where you gained wisdom, you gained perspective, you learned, and you created a new direction for yourself, man?
Yeah. So for those that don't know, I started my organization first possibly day July 29th of 2014. Yeah, so we're going on 4 years. Right before I started that first pot of spaghetti at the end of 2013, I was homeless myself. So for 7 months, I didn't have a car to sleep in, so I didn't sleep in a car. I didn't have a couch to crash on, so I didn't crash on a couch. So I slept in, abandoned buildings, squatted, and ate food wherever I could find it. Wow. And, I'm not necessarily what you think of when you think of someone who was less fortunate. One, I don't do zero drugs. Like I do no drugs whatsoever. Because every time we see someone who's less fortunate, we see him at an intersection holding the cardboard sign. Stereotype. And all that starts to pop up. Yep. Oh, he must be a drug addict. Oh, he must be lazy. Oh, he must have mental challenges. Oh, he must be an alcoholic, right? I have none of those things. Right? I rarely drink, right? But I don't drink like to get crazy. I also do zero drugs. I have no mental challenges that I'm aware of, right? So it's like I'm not the stereotypical person that you would think of who have gone through being homeless. I literally was a paycheck away. I was living paycheck to paycheck, and that one paycheck that I was counting on to come Friday never came. Wow. And that was literally the downward spiral into homelessness. And yeah, I mean, for most people would say, man, that's like, how did you do it? That's got to be rock bottom. And to be honest with you, I was homeless for 7 months, and that wasn't rock bottom. What was rock bottom was a phone call that I made to my mom. And, during the 7 months that I was homeless, I cannot tell you why. I have no idea. But the entire 7 months where I was homeless, my phone stayed on, my cell phone. Stayed on. Never paid the bill. Zero. Because all I had was like dirt, rocks, and lint in my pocket.
Oh my gosh. So
never paid the bill in 7 months. Today I don't pay it. It gets shut off by midnight.
Right?
But during that time, my phone stayed on for the entire 7 months. Wow. And I had gotten to literally rock bottom 6 months in, beard is blown out, same clothes, ripped, torn, dirty. I'm sure it didn't smell good. I had gone 6 months without speaking to a single soul. Wow. Not one person. World is full of 8 billion people. Not one of them wanted to say hello to me. And I literally went 6 months without speaking a single word to another soul. When you're homeless, no one ever says hello to you. When you're homeless, no one ever says, hi, how is your day? When you're homeless, no one ever holds the door open for you as you walk into a building. None of that exists. And it was 6 months in, and I had had enough of being absolutely alone. Absolutely alone. And I was severely depressed. And I was like, that's it. I had actually planned my out. My out was I was going to stand on a busy intersection here in Vegas. And it was an intersection known for like cars like flying through the yellow lights. Like they never stopped on the yellow. And I was like, well, this is the intersection where I'm going to kill myself. This is the end right here. Right. And right before I did it, I called my mom, and it was more of like my goodbye call. Right. It was like, that's it. I'm going to do this. And I called her, And we had a little conversation. As soon as I answered, she said, "What's wrong?" I could hear it in your voice. "What's wrong?" And I told her, I was like, "Mom, I've been freaking homeless. I've been freaking homeless for 6 months. And I can't take it anymore. I'm done. I can't take it." Now, at that point, I expected my mom, because the story in my head was, if I called my mom and I told her what was going on, about how bad it was, she would at least save me, right? She would say something like, "Don't worry about it, baby. I'll get you a plane ticket back to Jersey. You can sleep in your old bedroom. I'll make you chicken soup," whatever that story was. And, she didn't say that. Instead, she said, "Why don't you go to a shelter?" So as soon as she said that, I said, "Okay, Mom, thanks. Appreciate it. I got to go." And I hung up on her. And I knew standing there, this was the moment. I just got confirmation from my own mother that if I went and jumped in front of that intersection and got hit by a car and died, it was okay because no one's going to miss me. Wow. Or what I could do is I could turn this whole situation around, get back on my feet, and be like, "F you, Mom. I did it." Right? That was my motivation at the time. Today, my mom and I have a great relationship, right? Awesome. But in that moment, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was feeling. So I had a decision to make. Talk about staring the saber-toothed tiger in the face. It was either go kill myself or show the world that I can do it. Because in that moment alone, I knew that no one was coming to get me. There was no army waiting for me to call them to come pick me up. Right? There was no one coming to save me. And if I was going to get out of that situation, that scenario, the only person that was going to save me was me. Yeah. So at that point, I made a decision, obviously, that I was going to show my mom, which was my biggest motivation at the time, that I can do this and I don't need her help. And I can't tell you, but at this time, I just felt like this huge rush of energy. It was like burning energy that came up through my feet. It came up over my shins, over my knees, over my waist, over my chest, and out through the top of my head. And I was on fire. On fire. I was literally on fire. I felt the whole energy rush from my feet all the way to the top of my head. And I was like, "F this, I'm going to do this." Damn. And literally the very next phone call I made was to a boss that I had when I first moved to Vegas. I mean, I've been in Vegas 8 years now. I worked for him the first year I was here. Didn't make any sense. But in the back of my mind, as soon as I made that decision, I kept hearing, "Call Eric." And I was like, "What? That doesn't make any sense." And it kept getting louder. "Call Eric." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "I'm not going to call him." Now I'm arguing with myself in my head, right? I'm like, "I'm not going to call him. I haven't talked to him in 4 years. He probably doesn't have the same phone number. That's ridiculous. I'm not calling him." It kept going, "Call him." And I was like, "Fine, I'll call him." Right? If it means you'll shut up, I'll call him, right? Talking to myself. And I'm not crazy. So so I gave him a call and he answered. And I told him, I said, "Hey man, I gotta be completely honest with you. I've been homeless for 6 months, eating food wherever I can find it, squatting in abandoned buildings, literally sleeping every night with one eye open, praying not to get robbed." And I was like, I don't know what to do. And in that moment, he told me, he said, "I've got this tiny, tiny office space. It's 10 by 12, right? 0 windows. And I rented it because I was starting a new business with a friend of mine. He backed out at the last minute. And I didn't pay the rent on that office space this month. I don't plan on going forward with the business. I don't plan on paying the rent on it this month. But I still have the key. And if you want it, I'll give it to you." Now, I knew in that moment, it wasn't just a key. It was an opportunity, right? So I told him, "Of course, I'll take the key." And he met me that day. He picked me up. He took me to this tiny office suite and opened up the door. And I had everything. To me, the world had just opened up. I had a roof over my head. I had 4 walls for protection. I had a door that I can lock and unlock at any time. And I had a key to it. Not only that, I also, in this tiny office, this office was so tiny, literally most people's closets are bigger than this office space, right? And they were so tiny that the management of the building, what they would do to attract new business owners to these office suites was they would throw everything they can in for free with the rent. Mm-hmm. So your electricity was free, your internet was free, right? And I looked in the room, and there was like this 8x6 folding table, white folding table, you know, like kind of like the folding tables you see at like barbecues, picnics. It was like one of those folding tables, and there was a computer on it. And it was like one of those old computers with like the big backs, right? So it was like big and bulky, right? And it was really old. And I looked at that computer, and then I looked at him, and I said, "Why are the lights on?" He says, "It's included with the rent." I go, "What else is included with the rent?" He said, "Internet." I said, "Does that computer have internet?" He goes, "Yeah." And then boom, I knew I was in. That computer was my way, my access to the outside world. Wow. Right? It was an opportunity yet again for me to create a resume, start submitting my resume online, going to Craigslist and looking for day labor work for quick cash, right? That computer was everything. Even though it was so old that I would like go and I would open up like 2 windows, and because it was so old, it would just crash on me. It was like, what are you trying to do here? Like, I'm from like 2000. You can't open up 2 windows at the same time on me, right? So I got really efficient with opening 1 window, 1 tab, right? And then just working whatever I had to do in that tab, close that tab out, open up another tab individually, right? And then, so I got really, really good at that. Yeah, and that's exactly what I did to get back on my feet. And Eric was so awesome, man. He would like I would line up 6 interviews in a day, and Eric would pick me up and he would take me to those interviews, and he'd sit in the car while I was outside getting an interview. That's if they even let me in the building, because again, 7 months in, beard's blown out, same clothes, ripped, torn, dirty, not smelling so good. So when I walk in for interviews, even if I had my resume in my hand, which Eric would print out, you know, I'd walk into the building and the receptionist would come darting out from behind her desk, and she'd be like, "You can't come in here." And I'm like, "I'm here for the interview." "Sure you are. You can't come in here." Right? And that literally happened like 69 times. Oh, so the job that actually hired me, I got really lucky. It was like interview number 70. And you want to talk about persistent. Like, I was freaking persistent, man. I didn't care how many times I got kicked out of a building, how many people wouldn't see me, how many people, like, I would sit in a lobby with like my clothes that smell, and people would get up and like move 3 seats down. And I knew it was because I smelled, right? Because they didn't want to sit next to me. Like, but I didn't care. I was like, dude, I don't care. Like, I'm on fire. Like, I'm going to get this. Like, I'm going to get this. I'm getting out of this situation, getting out of this scenario. I don't care what you think, right? So I got lucky. I walked into interview number 70, and as soon as I opened up the door, I walked right into their bullpen. And it was like a call center. Then there's like 8 desks. People's backs were to me, and they're on the phone. It was a bunch of chatter, lots of energy. And I walked in, 0 receptionists. So I'm literally just standing there, right? And the manager is in the back office in the right? He's in his office. His door is open. He hears the door open in the front, and he kind of peeks out, and he sees me standing there. And then, of course, he has this look over his face that just washes over him like, oh, my God, what the heck's going on here? I got to get this guy out of here before my employees know this, right? Maybe I'll go throw him a couple of bucks and he'll leave, right? So he comes out from behind his desk, and he walks up to me. He goes, can I help you? And I was like, yeah, I'm here for my interview. He goes, your interview? I go, yeah. I go, I'm Siloh. He goes, you're Siloh? My 2 o'clock? I go, yeah, that's me. And he looks me up and down. He's like, all right, follow me. And he took me in his office, and he freaking hired me, right? I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
So not that job didn't come with its own kind of, you know, I still had to prove myself. You know, I like to believe that he hired me simply because it was commission only. And if I didn't, you know, earn any money, he wasn't losing anything. Right. So it was commission only. So the only time I got paid is if I worked my butt off, and I did. Like, I worked my butt off. I was the first one in the office. I was the last one out of the office Monday through Friday. I came in and worked Saturdays. I would even come in Sundays if he wanted me to. And in the first 30 days I was there, I learned absolutely everything about their business. I learned everything about being on the phones and being an agent. And in the first 30 days, I'm now outselling like the number 1 sales rep. I'm the number 1 sales rep in that office in 30 days.
Damn.
And in 60 days, I am outselling the senior reps who have been there for 4, 5, 6 years, right? I'm outselling them. And it was just that drive, that determination, that grit that was like, I'm not going to fail no matter what. I was super focused, and I didn't care what people thought, what people said. You know, as soon as I started to get a little bit of notoriety in the office, like, who is this guy? How come he's excelling so quickly? You know, and they all started chattering. I didn't listen. I stayed on my game. I stayed focused, right? And by staying on my game and staying focused, I was able to outsell the senior reps that were there 60 days later.
Damn.
So, and then I just built myself up from there. Like, I used to walk 7 miles to work, to work 7 miles, 7 miles back, right? And then I saved every single penny. And then I went from walking and I bought a bicycle and I rode my bicycle to work. Now it only took me 40 minutes to get to work versus 4 hours, right? Then I saved up my money and I bought a monthly bus pass. So now it only took me 15 minutes to get to work versus 4 hours walking, right? And then I saved up my money and I bought a moped, and then I saved up my money and I bought my first car, and I bought my second car. And yeah, so I just rebuilt everything from there.
Damn.
So,
it's freaking epic, dude. It's freaking epic.
And then as soon as I got back on my feet, like, I had a little bit of food in the fridge and I had my own place. I was not necessarily my own place, but I was renting a room. Right. And so I had a little bit of food in the fridge and had a roof over my head, and had money coming in at my job because I was busting my butt. I went and served my first pot of spaghetti, and I've been serving ever since.
Man. Yeah, that's incredible. Siloh, dude, you are a freaking machine, man. I love it. I love the whole journey, dude. It's super, super inspiring. And like, what does it take for people to get tapped into that fire that you got without hitting rock bottom? You know, like, listening to this interview, people want to take their performance up another level. They want to improve. They want to grow. What would you recommend for those people?
Man, I would literally say just sit in a room by yourself, no distractions, 20 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it takes, and literally ask yourself, just get quiet, you know, like, when I say get quiet, it's either meditation, journaling, writing stuff down, right? And just really ask yourself those questions. Like, what is it that I'm passionate about? What is it that I believe in? Most importantly, what is it that I don't believe in? What will I not stand for? Because when you ask yourself those type of questions, then your answers of what you do stand for automatically come to you, right? And it's just doing those kind of exercises, and it's not going to come the first time you do it. You might need to do it 3 days in a row, 3 weeks in a row. It might even take you a year. But as long as you're working on it, that fire will hit you and it will find you because you're searching for it.
Dude. How does someone know if they're really giving their all to search for it, or if it's just like, I'll do it every once in a while, I'll do it when I can? Like, what is obsessed and like overkill? And, you know, is there such thing as too much? Asking these questions too often, too much?
There is something as trying too hard. Right. So if you find it should feel effortless. It should feel like flow, like water. Water just flows. You put water in a jar, it becomes a jar, right? You put water in a bowl, it becomes a bowl. It's effortless, right? So as you're doing this, it should be effortless. It should feel effortless. If it gets to the point where it feels like there's some kind of friction or some kind of restriction, then you're trying too hard. I'd say take a break, continue where you left off tomorrow with a fresh mind, right? But you can never try too hard. There's never over trying. I should say there's never over trying, but you can try too hard. And when you try too hard, it doesn't work. And that's pretty much the secret sauce. It's just got to flow.
Wow. So in terms of becoming that change maker, like, what is this how does this factor into being a change maker? And I think it would be good to start with your definition of a change maker, what that means to you, and then, like, how does this factor in knowing what you're passionate about, what you believe in, to being a change maker? Right,
absolutely. And it's about getting into that flow. It really is. So I say going from change giver to change maker. And when I say that is that it's easy for us to believe that we're doing good when we go volunteer once a year. It's easy for us to believe that we're doing good when we're busy at work, but the best way we can contribute to the community or social cause is by writing a check, right? So how do you go from change giver, which is essentially someone who just cuts a check, volunteers once a year, to a change maker? And it's a whole different mindset. It's going from literally writing a check and getting to the point where a check's not even enough anymore, where it's like you don't even think about that as an option. It's like when you see a social cause that you want to stand behind, it's how can I get involved? How can I make an impact? How can I change what I see that's going on? And what actions can I take to do so? Right? So when you're a change maker, you are essentially standing in a place of problem solving and getting really creative to solve that problem outside of the traditional ways of just volunteering or cutting a check, right? That's not even an option to you when you're a change maker. Change givers look at that as an option. Change makers do not, right? They're consistently looking for better ways to get things done more effectively and efficiently into social causes that they stand for. So when you're moving from one place to another, it's just a switch of mindset. It's like asking yourself better questions so you get better answers and you make a better impact. So with us as an organization, we, even to this very day, we've had people who literally want to do that. I sat down with an owner of a franchise of a restaurant business here. They serve mostly burgers and fries. And this is a really good example. We sat down, we had a conversation. It was a referral. He heard about what we were doing. One of his head employees, vice president, et cetera, said, you got to meet this guy, Siloh. You got to see what they're doing in the community. It's great. I think it'd be a great partnership for us. So I got a call from them. Hey, can you come down Thursday? The CEO wants to talk to you. I was like, oh, wow, the CEO? Cool. I'll definitely be there. Went there. We sat down. We talked. We hit it off. We had a great time. At the end of the conversation, he says, I love you and I love what you guys are doing. How can we get involved? And I said, okay, great. Well, let's talk about that. And he said, first of all, you got to know I'm a very busy CEO. So what I can do for you is this. He's like, how about I just cut you a check for X amount of dollars? Right? Now, a change giver would have been like, yes, absolutely. I told him no. So I said, before he even had a chance to whip out his checkbook, I told him no. Said, that's not good enough. He goes, I'm sorry, what do you mean that's not good enough? I said, do you really love us? Yes. Do you love what we're doing in the community? Yes. Great. You know what could really help? He goes, what? Send me your employees and send me your food you don't sell at the end of the day. Send me your employees and send me your food you don't serve that year that basically goes unsold or at the end of the day.
But it's still good.
and it's still good. So that's what he started doing. He started sending his employees down to our give backs, our pay it forwards, right? And they started sending food down there. And I said, when they come down, they're not allowed to wear their shirts from your restaurants. It's not a promo thing. You're not down there to take a bunch of pictures and put it on Facebook and say, look how good we're doing in the community. It's not about that, right? It's about making an effort to impact the social cause that's dear to the both of us. And he totally got it. And now we're still in partnership with them today.
Wow.
Versus if I would have just taken a check, he would have thought his job was done, gave me a bunch of money, and was like, all right, cool, see you later. And that would have been the end of the partnership, right? And that doesn't make an impact. Eventually the money goes away. Then what do you do? Right? I'd rather take the support of the business so that I can say, look who we partnered up with in the community. Look at the difference they're making in the community. They're sending us their employees as volunteers. They're giving us food every week to serve. So now we got longevity with our servings. Now we have credibility because we teamed up with that CEO in their business, right? So there's so much more that can come from just being a change giver when you start thinking like a change maker.
Damn, that's epic. Okay, so this is with regards, we mentioned charities, with businesses, with individuals. So how could this apply to a business or an entrepreneur, someone who's in the startup phase kind of thing?
Yeah, great question. So you're basically saying if I heard you correctly, if you're an entrepreneur, you're starting off or have a business and you want to make an impact on a social cause that's dear to you, how do you do it?
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So there's a very interesting fact. So the numbers is that there are, if you were to compare millennials with baby boomers, right? Baby boomers, when they were growing up, they were taught, if you want to start a business, start the business, get successful, and then pay it forward later, right? Millennials are raised a lot differently. They're spoken to a lot differently. They, today, start businesses with the mind of that they're going to use business to leverage to make an impact in their social causes. then they think product, then they think profits.
Hmm.
The numbers are 1 out of every 4 baby boomer actually gives back into the community once they become successful.
Mm-hmm.
Millennials, they start off 2 out of every 4 with the idea they're going to leverage business to make a social impact.
Wow.
So there's a whole shift that's going on right now
Mm-hmm.
with people who see business as a tool to eradicate social problems, social challenges.
Wow.
And it's the millennials. They're leading the way.
Hmm.
And so when I sit down with them, I've got one guy right now that I'm consulting with, 19 years old. He wants to start an online, kind of like a shopping mall, right? Like you can go shopping. He wants to create a website. He wants to add clothing. Eventually he wants to blossom into household goods, dishes, pots and pans, everything you need on one site.
Mm-hmm.
So when we sat down, I said, okay, great. Tell me about your business. He says, first, let me tell you about what I want to do with it. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. Again, he's 19. I go, what do you want to do with your business? He says, I want to eradicate homelessness.
Wow.
I go, okay, how do you want to do that? He's like, well, first I thought for every piece of clothing we'd sell, we either give a piece of clothing away to someone who can't afford it, or we would donate a certain amount of money that's made off every item that's sold on our store, online store, to, homelessness and giving them whatever they need. He even thought about opening up a part of his website by password only just for those who are less fortunate, so they can go on his website and shop for free.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And he's
Damn.
19. He's 19.
Damn.
So,
on fire.
on fire. Like he just gets it, right?
Yeah.
So again, the contrast is baby boomers were taught, start your business, make a great product, make a ton of money, and then if you have time later, give back. Millennials think, how can I leverage business right now to make an impact in social causes? Then I'll create the product, then I'll make the money. Right? Yeah. So, and I find it very inspiring considering I'm a guy who thinks the same exact way, right? With my organization, we needed funds to move forward. So what I did was I just created products. I created t-shirts, I created hats, I created bumper stickers, I created window decals, and I just sold them back to our volunteers and our sponsors, right? And we basically took a portion of those sales and we applied it to our gives to keep our gives going, which is why I was able to say no to that guy who wanted to cut a check, because I was already self-sustainable. Like his money wasn't going to do anything, right? We had very low overhead. And we basically used the profits from our products that we were selling to our volunteers to continue to push our mission. And that's the same way with 2 out of every 4 millennials today. They think the same exact way.
That's awesome.
So if you want to be someone who wants to incorporate giving into your business model, I would say look at a few things. First of all, there's a new thing called benefit corporations. It's been around for about 3 to 4 years now, recognized in 33 states in the United States. Benefit corporations are exactly that. It's a corporation that allows you to make a benefit to the community. Or impact your community that you're in. So your benefit corporation is exactly that. It's a corporation that benefits the community, meaning you have a strong mission statement, strong social cause tied to your business model. And they are an exceptional way for you to be able to create a business that impacts the community based on what you want to impact or a social cause that you want to impact. Most people believe, like, if I want to go out and I want to do good in the community, I need to go start a nonprofit. Well, that's not the case anymore. Now you can start a benefit corporation. You can go out, you can create a business model that benefits the community, and you can set it up any way you'd like. You can say, I'm going to take 30 cents of every product that I sell, and I'm going to apply that 30 cents into a social cause. You can say, I'm going to give, like Tom's shoes, for every product that we sell, we're going to give a product away if someone can't afford it. There's tons of ways that you can do it with a benefit corporation, and you have such flexibility with a benefit corporation where you can actually sway back and forth between thinking like a nonprofit and thinking like a for-profit. It's such a great business model. So step one, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to go out and make a social impact in the world, check out benefit corporations. Go online. There's a website that's called bcorp.com. You can go on there, learn a bunch of stuff. You can go to YouTube, watch a bunch of benefit corporation videos. There's a ton of them on there. And then you can call your local office wherever you apply for your business license. Most likely, if they recognize a benefit corporation, they'll be able to tell you a little bit about how to set one up.
Cool.
So
dude,
that's step one.
Epic. So you mentioned that's one.
Yeah, that's step one. Step two would be, what's the social cause that you want to impact? You know, so there's people out there, a lot of people that I sit down with, I consult with, there's like a wide variety of people who want to impact certain things. You have people who want to impact poverty. You have people who want to impact the environment, right? Maybe they want to create a product, and for every time that product sells, they want to save, 5,000 trees, right? And then there's people who want to eradicate or help education. There's people who want to create a product, make great money, become successful, and for every time their product sells, they're going to donate a certain dollar amount to a local school to make sure music stays in schools, right? So it all comes down to what social cause speaks to you the most, and how can you leverage business to make an impact in it.
Wow. Dude, that's freaking epic. And I love it because it's starting reverse engineering, right? Like you said, the old model used to be start the business, make a profit, or get really big, and then at the end give back. But this is like, okay, what's the cause that I want to impact? Start with that. Start thinking about what's important to me, and right. Especially people who are listening, it's like what values do you have? What challenges have you gone through? What challenges has your family gone through? And maybe it's cancer, maybe it's homelessness, maybe it's foreign countries and diseases or something. Maybe you were born in a different country, so you want to support that country. There's always a place to look for that source of motivation, a source of pain and suffering that has been in the world.
Right, exactly. And this new shift in mindset today is only showing how people are thinking today. They're thinking outside their box. They're thinking outside their communities. They're thinking more like globally, right? Yeah. They're thinking bigger. And because they're thinking bigger, remember what we spoke about earlier, in order to get through challenges, you must believe in something bigger than yourselves.
Yeah.
These are people who are starting businesses with the idea of something bigger than themselves. Right? Which is going to lead their business in a direction without fault, right? Which will make it harder for them to quit because it's not about them. At the end of the day, it's about their social cause and the impact and the lives they can change with business in that social cause.
Wow. Damn. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I really, when you said that, I was like, man, I'm thinking about the 12-hour marathon, and it's like I give all these awesome speakers a chance to share their message, and I've thought about quitting before. I'm like, it's a lot of work. It's like, should I go to like a one day a week, one episode a week? And I'm like, no, it's like it's inspiring, and all the people who get to be seen and heard, and just like what we stand for, like you said, it's just like that cause of being a beacon of light, knowing that there's sources of inspiration and possibility out there, and reminding people that anything's possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. And now you have a way of creating that, right?
Yeah.
Now now you have a corporate entity that you can create that show that anything is possible.
I love it. I love it, man. I love it. So, like, what do you see in your future? What's the impact, the legacy that you see yourself leaving? I know it's probably super early to determine that, but what is on the horizon right now?
Yeah, I'm really in love with the idea right now of two things. One, I want to start a feel good give back con, right? Like a convention, maybe like the do-gooders convention, right?
Right.
Where we get like a bunch of people, social entrepreneurs, mission-driven people, mission-driven businesses. We get them all under one roof at the same time. We talk about challenges that we are facing, how to overcome them, and we bring them into this con, and we give them an opportunity to connect, network, and create bigger impacts in social causes, right? And I the more I give, the more my idea expands of what giving is. So doing this con would be my way of giving back to them and creating more impact in social causes, whether it's my own or their social causes. At least we're giving them a platform that they can create even bigger impacts, right? Communicate, come together, partner up, and eradicate whatever it is that they're looking to eradicate. And then the second one is, I want to make the biggest impact and dent in homelessness as possible. So that's me. Like, that's just because, that's just me personally what I want to do. Business wise, I want to create something magical for those who wish to do good through business and impact, social causes effectively and efficiently.
Damn, dude, that's epic, man. Do you see yourself building more of a personal brand? Like, do you see that you're going to be focused on the organization mostly, or do you see yourself building a personal brand in the coming years?
I was never one for personal branding because, again, I like to think outside of myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like to remove myself from whatever it is that I'm doing and believe in something bigger than myself.
Right.
I am consulting right now, which is great.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, it's not even like Siloh Moses Consulting. It's called We Win 360.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Which is like the impact that I want to make in everyone I consult is how do we all win? How do you win as a business? How do you win socially in the causes that you want to eradicate or impact, right? And how do your investors win, customers win, employees win? It's 360, right?
Wow.
So I don't know. I really don't know. Right now I'm having a lot of fun just going with the flow, but I'm having a ton of fun consulting and just meeting like people who want to do good in the world and then finding a way to eradicate some of those social issues through business.
That's beautiful. You must meet like so many amazing people, especially being in Las Vegas, focusing on people who are out to change the world. I'm sure you hear incredible ideas and just constantly meeting and networking with people who are just like revolutionary, like augmented reality, virtual reality, technology, forward thinking movements and progressive stuff. I can only imagine.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. It's a lot of fun because, like I said, like I'm consulting another guy who, started from zero, scratch from nothing, wanted to start his own charity to give back to kids without fathers.
Wow.
And helped him with an event, his very first event that he put on last month, and just guiding him through the process and letting him know where the speed bumps and the hurdles are going to be at. He was able to have a huge accomplishment, like a huge successful event, to the point where the Arizona Diamondbacks came down and got involved with his event and his nonprofit. And it was his first event ever. The first event ever. And he had the Arizona Diamondback players come to his event.
Damn.
Right? And he raised a ton of money. Right? And it's just really cool to see the impact. And the kids. The kids were like, wow, I can't believe the Arizona Diamondback players are here. And they had a fantastic time. And they got to go home with backpack stuff with like school supplies and get a good meal and hang out with baseball players and get autographs and photos taken, right? So it's like, and it's just it's love, man. It's just all love. It's great.
That's incredible, man. Well, dude, Siloh, we're beginning to wrap up now. Any final takeaways for our audience as we step into our change maker roles, man?
Nice. Let's see. I would say think outside the box. Believe in something bigger than yourself. Become mission driven. Become a mission-driven business. Think impact, think eradicating, and never try to end anything.
Did you say
right?
think eradicating and never try to end it?
Yes. Now, follow me for a second. So for me, right, us as an organization, serving those who are less fortunate, you will never ever hear me say we're out to end homelessness. Because I don't believe that.
Right.
Ever since we moved out of caves as cavemen and women and started building homes to live in, there's always going to be people that live in homes and people that don't. As long as you have a society where there's people who have too much, you're always going to have people who don't have enough. Right? And until that's fixed, we're always going to have homelessness.
Right.
So you'll never hear me say that we're out to end homelessness. Instead, you will hear me say we're just out to make the biggest dent in it as possible. It's a lot more realistic. It's a lot more hands-on. It's a lot more, I can grab it. It's tangible. I can do something with this. Versus saying me, myself, personally, by myself is going to end homelessness. Nothing wrong with that for the nonprofits out there to think that way, right? But for us, me personally, I don't personally think I'm going to, on my own, single-handedly end homelessness.
Right.
So when I say look at making an impact and not look at trying to bring an end to something, make it tangible. Make it so you can touch it, you can taste it, right? And make it believable and make whatever social cause that you want to make an impact in, make it doable by thinking rationally.
Got to keep the logic. Even though it's a mission, even though it's a big vision, got to keep the logic in it.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, dude, awesome. Siloh, you are the man. How do people stay connected with you, brother? And what do we want them to do next?
Sure. Awesome. So two things right now. If they want to connect with me, they can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty heavy on LinkedIn right now. LinkedIn.com/IN/Siloh Moses, SILOHMOSES. You can also follow me on Facebook, but a lot of my kind of business and consulting stuff, you can follow me on LinkedIn and kind of see how I think and see if you want to interact with me and maybe sit down and have a conversation over your business and see if you want to make a social impact in something that calls you. Number two, they can go online right now on Amazon and buy my true story. My book just came out. My book is called Better Than This, and it's written under my pen name, which is M. Hollis, HOLIS, but M. Hollis is just Siloh M backwards. So they can, so they can go on Amazon right now, buy my book. My book is my true story. It's actually my journal that I kept while I was homeless.
Wow.
So they'll be able to actually get a firsthand experience of what it's like to be homeless by buying my book and reading through it.
Damn, that's epic. Epic, man. Well, Siloh, thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you for the work that you're doing in the world, changing the world. Change maker. Change maker of change makers. You're changing the change makers. You're the king of change makers. No, dude, seriously though, what you're doing, I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You're all about people, all about serving, and really thank you for what you do, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you to all your listeners and everyone that watched. Thank you. It's such a pleasure.
All right.
Awesome.
We'll see you soon, okay?
All right. Thanks.
Take care.